Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says Moscow is not seeking peace but readying new attacks days before a meeting between the Russian and US leaders. He warns Russian troop movements signal fresh offensive operations. The United States and China extend their tariff truce for 3 months, avoiding triple-digit duties on each other's goods. President Donald Trump says higher tariffs are suspended until November the 10th under his new executive order. Israeli planes and tanks bombard eastern Gaza City overnight, killing at least 11 people, witnesses and medics say. Hamas leader Khalil al-Hayya is heading to Cairo for talks on reviving a US-backed 60-day truce and hostage release deal. Ukraine says its forces have retaken 2 villages in Sumy, marking modest gains along the Russian border ahead of US-Russia peace talks on Friday. President Donald Trump says both sides have to cede land to end the war. A 4-year-old boy dies of heat stroke in Italy as extreme temperatures put cities across France, Italy and the Balkans on red alert. Wildfires forced thousands to evacuate and threaten tourist sites in Turkey and Spain amid persistent heat dome over Europe. EU leaders urge a ceasefire and support Ukraine's right to self-determination ahead of Friday's Trump-Putin summit, warning against unfavorable land swap deals. Russia pushes deeper into eastern Ukraine while Kiev retakes 2 villages in Sumy. President Donald Trump says he will send 800 National Guard troops to Washington and temporarily take control of the city's police department, bypassing local leaders. The move marks an unusual use of presidential power in the US Capitol. United Nations investigators say Myanmar security forces have carried out systemic torture, identifying senior commanders among the perpetrators. The report details beatings, electric shocks, strangulation and fingernail removal amid mass detentions since the 2021 coup. Now, our top story this hour: the United States and China have extended a tariff truce for another 90 days, staving off triple-digit duties on each other's goods. Trump announced on his Truth Social platform that he had signed an executive order suspending the imposition of higher tariffs until 12 a.m. EST on November the 10th, with other elements of the truce to remain in place. China's Commerce Ministry has issued a parallel pause on extra tariffs, also postponing for 90 days the addition of US firms it targeted in April to trade and investment restriction lists. The tariff truce between Beijing and Washington had been due to expire today. According to reports, the extension until early November buys crucial time for the seasonal autumn surge of imports for the Christmas season, including electronics, apparel and toys at lower tariff rates. Meanwhile, China and Hong Kong shares have climbed as the extension of a tariff truce between the US and China helped cushion investor sentiment, according to reports. At the close, the Shanghai Composite Index rose 0.5%, while Hong Kong's benchmark Hang Seng Index ended up 0.25%. We're now joined by Peter Cardello. He's a chief market economist at Spartan Capital Securities, and he joins us live from New York. Peter, thank you very much for joining us. Pleasure to have you on the program, as always. First of all, how significant is this 90-day tariff extension for the US and Chinese exporters, especially ahead of the Christmas season and in sectors like electronics, apparel and toys?
Yeah, I think it's very significant, and it gives wiggling time, let's say, to China and the United States to come to some mutual agreement. And it also, indicates that dealing with China is not as easy as the President administration thought. And so, therefore, the administration is acknowledging that it needs more time, and it should help perhaps relieve the pain of higher prices for electronics and things of that nature before the Christmas season. Now, by that I mean there'd probably an early start to Christmas shopping, and so you could see a lot of these products being moved off the shelves before some sort of an agreement, which would obviously mean higher prices and eventually higher inflation.
Yes, Peter, we've also seen Shanghai and Hong Kong stocks tick up after this announcement. How much of this is a short-term sentiment boost versus a reflection of underlying trade fundamentals?
Well, I think it's, the fact that the markets applaud this type of news is good news. And it means that your investors have not decided to abandon the markets, but react to this type of news. And it means that if deals that are favorable to each country without the prospects of perhaps stronger inflation emerging, that the markets are probably headed higher. And so, anytime the markets react positively to this kind of news, it's a good long-term perspective for the markets to move higher.
Peter, how do repeated short-term extensions like this, which have come all too common under Donald Trump, affect business investment decisions, supply chain planning, and price stability for consumers?
Well, that's becomes a bit more difficult because Trump changes his mind quite often. And so the more often that happens, the greater the uncertainty factor builds. And businesses are reluctant to make any long-term commitments. So it's, it works both ways. It gives some breathing room, and then of course it creates even more doubts and to a certain degree, even confusion.
Peter, finally, which side, Washington or Beijing, stands more to gain from this pause, and how might that shape trade talks leading up to this November deadline?
I think both sides have probably. I think both sides will probably be the beneficiaries of deals that won't be too costly in a sense of inflation, and without impacting the economies. So it's a give and take, and I don't see any one country, and that does not, and I'm not only referring to China, but to all our trading partners, either winning or losing. Eventually, some of the countries that have been placed with higher tariffs, they will come into line as well. It's for the beneficiary of everyone to make deals and not to wreck their economies.
Yes, Peter Cardallo, thank you very much for giving us that insight and explaining that to us so clearly. We now move on to the Middle East, where Iran's National Security Chief Ali Larijani is on a regional tour, meeting senior officials, including Iraqi Foreign Minister Fouad Hussein, amid growing tensions over Hezbollah disarmament in Lebanon. In Iraq, Larijani signed a joint security agreement and discussed regional security and the Israel-Hamas conflict. Larijani's upcoming visit to Lebanon comes as the Lebanese government, backed by the US, seeks to disarm the Iran-backed Hezbollah, a move strongly opposed by Tehran. Iran maintains that Hezbollah's military capabilities are essential for Lebanon's defense against Israel and condemns disarmament efforts as foreign interference. This tour underlines Iran's strategic influence in the region and its support for allies amid shifts in power. Now, to discuss this, we're joined by Dr. Ronan Ziedel. He's an Iraq analyst from the Moshe Dayan Center University, and he joins us live from Tel Aviv right now. Thank you very much for joining us here on the program. Doctor, how significant is this new Iran-Iraq joint security pact, and what does it tell us about Baghdad's current foreign policy alignment?
Well, we don't know details of the agreement, so I wouldn't be able to give you the details that I don't know. We suppose that it touched upon several issues. First of all, there's a major pilgrimage within 2 weeks, the Arba'in, and millions of Iranians are going to flood Iraq as part of this pilgrimage. Millions of Iranian pilgrims, so they need to be protected. So I guess that part of the agreement speaks about protecting them. Then I suppose that they also touch upon two subjects which are very important for the Iranians, and one subject which is important for the Iraqis. I wrote about it today. Well, the first subject, let's start with the Iranians. There's the question of the disarmament of the Iraqi militias, which of course is connected as far as the Iranians are concerned. It is also connected to the disarmament of Hezbollah in Lebanon and other militias of the resistance axis all over the Middle East. The Iranians, of course, are totally against the disarmament of the Iraqi militias. And they are going to press the Iraqi government not to pursue this issue further. On the other side, the Americans pressed the Iraqi government to disarm the Iraqi militias, and the Iraqi militias themselves are kind of restless now. So the Iraqi government is in a kind of is doing a kind of an attempt to come to terms with them. So that's the first subject. The Iranians don't want the militias to be disarmed, and the Iraqi government is under an opposing pressure from the Americans to do that. The second thing is the popular mobilization law, which will be presented to the Iraqi parliament one of these days. I don't know. It is on the table, and it's highly controversial, even in Iraq. So I'm not sure if the parliament will approve this law. The Iranians want this law to be approved because it approves the existence of the popular mobilization and Hashd al-Sha'bi as a legal institution in Iraq. The Americans, on the other hand, are against the approval of this law and against this law in general, because this law legitimates or gives legitimacy to an organization which includes a major terrorist element, which are the militias. So the Iranians are going to push these two subjects and discuss it with the Iraqis. I'm not sure if they reached an agreement on that. The third subject, this one is coming from the Iraqi government, is to kind of restrain the militias, because the militias went reckless recently in Iraq, doing all kinds of things that strongly embarrassed the Iraqi government, and the Iraqis have no way to restraining them. So I guess that they were speaking with the Iranians about this subject. I don't know if the Iranians would restrain the militias. That's a good question. But the militias were embarrassing the Iraqi government. To a certain extent, they were also embarrassing themselves, because some of the things they did ran against their own interests, and exposed some of the corruption in Iraqi politics today. So I guess that the Iraqi government appealed to the Iranians to try and restrain their own proxies in Iraq.
Yes, Dr. Zidel, how might Iraq's cooperation with Iran influence the broader regional debate over Hezbollah's disarmament in Lebanon?
It doesn't. It doesn't. Well, it's as far as the Iranians concerned, it's part and parcel of the entire issue of disarming the resistance axis. But the Iraqi government doesn't really have any influence on the disarmament of the Lebanese Hezbollah. This should be negotiated between the Iranians and Hezbollah and the Lebanese government, of course. The Iraqi government is in a kind of a similar situation to the Lebanese government here, but it's weaker than the Lebanese government in its insistence on the disarmament of the local militias.
Yes, and finally, let's talk about the implications for Israel here, Dr. Zadel. From an Israeli security perspective, should we be concerned about Iraq becoming a more active conduit for Iranian influence?
For Iranian influence, you mean?
Yes, Iranian influence, yes.
Iranian influence. Israel should be more interested in whatever happens in Iraq. I'm saying so that as an Iraqi expert, of course, who lives in Israel and tries to sell my merchandise, here. Of course, Israel should be interested in whatever happens. Then Israel should be concerned if Iran would expand its influence into Iraq and open new fields of influence. For example, if Iran would prepare Iraq as a launching site for its missiles in a future confrontation with Israel, that should worry us very much. Second, if the Iranians are going to use their proxies in Iraq to change the Iraqi government or to influence the Iraqi government by staging a coup or something like this, that's a possibility. It's a remote possibility now. It's not going to happen in the immediate future. But if somebody is discussing that in Iran, and he's discussing that with their collaborators in Iraq, that should worry us very much.
Dr. Zadel, thank you very much for your insight on that topic. Pleasure to have you joining us on the program. We now move over once again, where a magnitude 6.3 earthquake struck Papua on Tuesday evening, the US Geological Survey has reported. The earthquake's epicenter was about 193 kilometers northwest of Abepura. As of now, the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center confirmed that there is no tsunami threat as of yet. Moreover, there were no immediate reports of casualties or damage. The US Geological Survey initially recorded the quake at a magnitude 6.5, but later revised it down to 6.3. Now, Papua, which is the easternmost province in Indonesia, lies on the Pacific's Ring of Fire, which is a region known for frequent seismic activity where tectonic plates collide. This follows a series of earthquakes that have occurred recently. Obviously, we remember that one from Southeast Asia in Myanmar. Then, of course, the huge over 8 magnitude earthquake that hit the east of Russia. We now move over to South Asia for our next story, where Bangladesh's interim leader, Muhammad Yunus, has called for Malaysia's help in handling the Rohingya crisis as he holds talks with the country's Prime Minister in Putrajaya. According to reports, Bangladesh has, over the past 18 months, registered the biggest influx of Rohingya refugees since the mass exodus of Myanmar's largely Muslim minority nearly a decade ago. The United Nations Refugee Agency has reportedly said that up to 150,000 Rohingya have arrived in Bangladesh's Cox's Bazar refugee camps since the early 2024. We're now joined by Prashant Kumar Shil, who's a political commentator. He joins us live from the Bangladeshi capital. Thank you very much for joining us, Prashant. What more can you tell us about this huge influx of Rohingya to Bangladesh, and what implications does it have on the region?
Okay, you know that the Rohingya crisis is a major problem, not only for Bangladesh, it is also for very crucial for the Myanmar and also in Thailand and also in the Malaysia and Middle East and also in India. And so lots of other countries is very much affecting from this from Rohingya crisis problem. And the additional information I will give you, that is more than 1 lakh refugees in Cox's Bazar camp at Ukia camp, Ukia Kutipalong camp, and it's the largest refugee settlement here. So you know that we are already facing lots of problem in Rohingyas, because of, you mentioned that is starting from 2017, from the huge number of people come from Rohingya, from there is some unparalleled situation in Myanmar. But you see that the whole story about the Rohingya crisis, what is happening from still the Bangladesh in the present interim government to have this stand. But we are surprised to see that from the Malaysian Honorable Prime Minister from Anwar Ibrahim, he can also mention that this is a very good initiative for Bangladesh. They can discuss about the several platforms, but we cannot go what is the right way to how to solve our problem. So this is the main focus for my observation. Who can solve this the Rohingya crisis problem? We know that already the China is a very much crucial segment to resolve this the problem. But we see that we can discuss some other platforms, some other countries, and Malaysia, Thailand, and lots of other platform, international platform. But it's very much effective when to discuss about the China to the what's the problem at all in here, and on also in the Myanmar. You know that the Myanmar is the epicenter of that kind of Rohingya crisis. They are the main crucial partner, and you also know that the Myanmar Rakhine state, and also the Chin state. So two states is very important for the Myanmar, and you know that the Rohingyas are come from that kind of state. So we are just confirming that from our honorable chief advisor from Professor Dr. Yunus. They can mention the several segments. So it's a need talking about the two crucial words. One is the humanitarian aid, and another is the settlement. So I think it's a very crucial talk from the international forum. But you know that there is some tough situation from bargaining this issue and resolving the issue. We can talk about, but we cannot think about what is the main problem behind the Rohingya crisis and what is happening and what's the reflection about the problem. So this is my observation.
Yes, Prashant Kumar Shil, thank you very much for giving us the insight on that developing story, and we'll of course bring you all updates in regards to that ongoing situation. We now stay in the South Asian region, where Pakistan security forces, 9 soldiers of the army, including a captain, have been killed. As per reports, suspected Balok separatists ambushed military vehicles in the Washuk district of Balochistan. The attack unfolded near Green Chowk in the Bazima area as armed assailants opened fire on a military police van and a quick response force unit moving through the region. We're now joined by Major General A.K. Sawatch, who's a defense expert. He joins us live from New Delhi. Thank you very much, Major General, for joining us here on the program. A big development here. Pakistan security forces, 9 of the soldiers, including a captain, have been killed by separatists. What are the objective of said separatists in the Balok region?
You know, the point is, as far as Balochistan is concerned, the BLA is becoming very strong. In fact, the number of casualty which has taken place as far as Pakistan Army in about 2 years has been very closer. In fact, out of 12 provinces of Balochistan, in 8 to 9 provinces, there is no army and there is no police. It's total controlled by the Balochistan Liberation Army and the Majid Brigade. You remember that in now US has also declared Balochistan Liberation Army and Majid Brigade as a foreign terrorist organization, though they have banned it in 2019. But all said and done, Pakistan army is losing in Balochistan. Balochistan slowly and steadily is becoming almost independent. The type of civil war which is going on, and this has all happened due to the policies of Pakistan. You see, Balochistan was never part of Pakistan. In 1948, they annexed it militarily, and thereafter they have been exploiting Balochistan. See, Balochistan is the largest province of Pakistan. It is rich in mineral resources like zinc, copper, cobalt, gas, and oil, but it is the poorest because all the resources are being utilized by Pakistan. Pakistan, you can say, army as well as Pakistan government in Punjab and other provinces. In fact, after China-Pakistan economic corridor has been built, now it is not only being exploited by Pakistan, but it is being also exploited by China by making this China-Pakistan economic corridor, because all these resources are utilized by Pakistan and China, and nothing comes back to Balochistan. There are about 20,000 young Baloch which are missing from their home. So this is a liberation war. They want a freedom from Pakistan, and they never were part of Pakistan. And remember, Gwadar was never even part of Pakistan. It was bought in 1958 from Oman. So today the point which is coming is this freedom struggle is now becoming, you can say, a movement in which the Pakistan army is not able to handle it, and you find every day there are casualties of Pakistan army. Pakistan major along with about 9 to 10 soldiers have been killed. Now, before that, you remember the Jafar Express, where more than 400 soldiers were killed by the BLA as well as the Majid Brigade. So all one can say with a lot of conviction, what's happening in Balochistan, it's all been due to the poor, you can say, governance of Pakistan government. Pakistan government has exploited Balochistan, and Pakistan government has never given back whatever is, resources which have been utilized by them. So therefore, Pakistan is also feeling the brunt of it. One must also remember, as on today, Balochistan Liberation Army and Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, they of course have got a very opposing, you can say, sentiments, but they are now having a operational understanding. Both are coordinating their operation, and their operation has been very, very robust. And you find that Pakistan army in the receiving end. In fact, majority of posts in Balochistan have been abandoned by Pakistan army. A time is not far off when Balochistan will become an independent state. Having said so, one can say with a lot of conviction, it is not only in Balochistan, other parts are also equally bad. In fact, what is happening is, in Pakistan, there is a political instability, economic crisis, and also terrorism increasing manifold, and therefore there is a chances of Pakistan getting into a civil war. And if this civil war carries on, there are chances of Pakistan breaking into four, that is Balochistan, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, Sindh and Punjab. And the POJ and Gilgit-Baltistan, which is actually part of India, will join India in time to come. That seemingly looks to be a ground reality.
Major General, I'm conscious of time, so we only have a couple of minutes left, but have we seen an escalation in these separatist attacks in recent months, and how does this fit into the broader insurgent activity in the region?
The fact what happened is that in recent time, the operation has been very well coordinated, and you find there are intelligence-based operation wherein the BLA with its Majid Brigade is attacking on the Pakistani post/Pakistani convoy. In fact, even the Punjabi population which is there, which is exploiting Balochistan. So to me, it looks like that every day which is passing by, you find Pakistan army is on a back foot. They are abandoning the post. BLA is becoming very strong. The way situation is unfolding in Balochistan, it seems that the time is not far off when Balochistan will become an independent state.
Yes, Major General AJ Sawatch, thank you very much for joining us here on the programme and providing your insight. We now move over to Europe for a developing story where extreme heat and strong winds have generated fire whirls as a wildfire destroyed several houses and forced the evacuation of hundreds of people near a UNESCO World Heritage National Park in northern Spain, authorities have said. Around 800 people were ordered to leave their homes in 6 villages on the northern Castile and Leon region where multiple wildfires were burning. Residents of Congosta town used their garden hoses to spray houses, trees and streets in an effort to protect them from flames that destroyed at least 2 buildings where police warned them to get ready for evacuation. Let's hear what locals had to say.
Pa teško, vrlo teško mogu vam kazati, vidite I sami, emotivno, to je nekako najteže, sve što može da se plati I da se kupi, to će se nadoknaditi, jer I one uspomene koje nam izgore ovdje, izgorjele su nam u ove 4 sobe I potkrovlje gore veliko koje je bilo, to se ne može nadoknaditi. Kad nema ljudskih žrtava, to je negdje najvažnije, ali ovo juče što se dešavalo u Piperima zaista je kao iz horor filmova bilo.
Juče to je bio haos, znači vjetar je bio jak, to se širilo nenormalnom brzinom. Znači ljudi, ja sam u momentima nisi zna što se dešava, dim, takav dim, vrućina, vatra, da su ljudi jedva živu glavu pojedini izvukli, ali srećom, eto opet kažem, nije bilo ljudskih žrtava, materijalne štete je bilo, Boga bi dosta. Pojedinim ljudima su izgoreli kuće, izgoreli vinogradi, izgorele štale, sijeno, što da vam kažem, baš.
Reports indicate that Portugal is facing 3 major wildfires in the mountainous northern region, leading to evacuations and testing firefighters' efforts. A fire in the municipality of Trancoso has threatened homes as Portugal struggles to control an escalating wildfire season. Portugal sent reinforcements on Monday to fight 3 major wildfires as the country remains on high alert due to soaring temperatures and increased heat risks. More than 650 firefighters, along with 226 vehicles and 6 helicopters, were deployed to fight a wildfire in the village of Freches in the Trancoso district. The wildfire, driven by high temperatures and strong winds, posed a threat to residents in